It's the time for the package from China. Let's go. So for the people who are not familiar with Retroflag in general, they make high quality nice cases for Raspberry Pi. I think it's the 3 and the number 4. I did some reviews back in the day of the Sega model. I was very satisfied with that one. But this time we're going to get ourselves the Raspberry Pi 4 and I'm curious what can we play with it nowadays. So this is quite a beefy, like say, case itself. It's not like a tiny version that we have seen before, but the overall quality, I think it's pretty damn nice. It does, like, that is something I just really love about Retroflag in general. And one of those features I think is even more epic that we have like the cartridge here. You know, like I can really appreciate it. So far I can see there's nothing inside of this. It's just like pure for decoration sometimes. But what you can do, like you have the option to even like implement something through the SATA, so you can put something in here. I think it's a very cool feature. And yeah, like the on and off switch reset, we do get two connection at the front. Kind of weird that we have like a 2.0 and a 3.0. It's kind of weird combination. And at the back we do get every single connection that we're going to get normally with the Raspberry Pi. The only thing is that we do have like none of the assembly that we did had with the original case, because this thing is already pre-assembled. But let's do also a quick let's quick look in the inside and let's see what we're going to get. Replacing the SD card is super easy because they give you the option to basically like remove it from the outside. So you can see they give me like a Samsung 265 SD card. It is an original one for once, not like the cheap ones that you have seen before with some Android boxes. So that's a very positive thing. But this is the thing that I really love about the NES case in general. It's just a very nice, cool looking case. Not like a tiny one that we have seen before. It's a little bit slightly bigger, but it comes also with new features. But that's the reason I think this is like Retroflag, basically like having these unique cases with something different to bring to the table. What can we actually play with the Raspberry Pi 4? For the people, I have no idea. So basically we do have like a lot of options nowadays. I personally really love the Pi 4 for what it can even do. I know like there are people even having light gun stuff like that on it. Not we're going to try today. But there is a lot of like 8-bit, 6-bit stuff. But also when it comes into the Sega Dreamcast area, we do have like a lot of great, let's say, support for a lot of different games. So we're going to try some things out just to see how far we can push it. And what can we just play on this NES Pi 4. A system that runs perfectly on these things, of course, like some MAME and Neo Geo, but still I just want to implement it in the video to show you how it actually works. With the Raspberry Pi we did have some limitations, but with the freaking like Pi 4 we do have the option to play so many more MAME games. Take consideration, Killer Instinct doesn't run on this, so that's something we're not going to try out. Let's try a little bit of GBA, and I must say, like, nowadays we do have so many options to play this on actually like all kinds of different kind of hardware. Besides, like, I'm not even counting like the cheap devices we've reviewed, because the cheap devices mostly like mess everything up when it comes to GBA. And of course, you don't need to have like a Pi 4 for GBA, because you can actually run it pretty damn good on the Raspberry Pi 3. But let's test some more difficult games to emulate. So let's try some Bloody Roar number 2. Just to benchmark. But the Raspberry Pi 4 is absolutely capable of running most PlayStation 1 games nowadays. And also this is not really special anymore, because we have so many devices that can do this. Yeah, so when it comes to N64, there we do have like still some struggles here and there. Unfortunate that everything works perfectly. Depending on what kind of image emulator you're running, if it's up to date, still I think the N64, it's not running perfectly on the Raspberry Pi. But don't get me wrong, right, there's so much that we can actually play on this. Just again into the GoldenEye 007, just to show you how the performance in general is. It's way better than the Raspberry Pi 3, but it's not there yet. I have no idea how to shoot. Where's my freaking shoot button? Yeah, there was no shooting button. Whatever. We can see some hiccups here and there. We do have some struggles. But in my opinion, it's still playable. If you don't mind the hiccups. Okay, so next up, let's take a closer look at some Dreamcast and Dead or Alive 2. Let's see how far we can push it. I did notice with the intro, there's some minor hiccups, nothing to worry about, but the overall gameplay is pretty damn good. Alright, so next up, let's play a little bit of one of my favorite games of the Atomic Wave. And with this game, what I've noticed, like the chip boxes don't really run great with this. But they did manage to get it optimized for the Raspberry Pi 4, absolutely great. One of those fun systems to enjoy for many hours. Let's get in a different part with more enemies, so you can see if he's going to be hicking up or stuttering. But also here you don't see any hiccups whatsoever. Alright, so next up let's try one of my favorite Sega Naomi games to play. A lot of fun to play with the Sega Dreamcast or the Naomi systems. The Power Stone number 2. Such a cool game, and it actually runs pretty damn good on the Raspberry Pi number 4 now. Another system I just wanted to try out is the PlayStation Portable. With the Raspberry Pi 4, this is not like the ultimate beast when it comes to PlayStation Portable emulation, but we do have like a lot of great things that we can play on some. It's a little bit of tweaking sometimes, but also sometimes you can just play them with native resolution, depending of course what kind of game. But most games, like one of my favorite ones, Wiper Pure, is very well playable. Going into the settings, so you will see that we do have like frame skip enabled. I'm not going to mess around with this because if you're going to mess around it will run like crap in my opinion. So that is unfortunate, so that's something I just wanted to show you. You can see it even like implemented the speed ups, the extra options to give it a little bit of better boost. So for PSP, I'm just going to leave it with this simply because God of War, for example, will not run great on this. Let's take a close look in the inside. Just wanted to see if this is a quite interesting contraption or is it just your typical Pi. I didn't put this thing basically together because I bought it like a kit. It was more convenient for me to do, and I'm more like, you know, why not like get a kit. I already have like a Raspberry Pi inside the machine because when I'm making these videos, oh man, like finding Raspberry Pi, it can be quite expensive. So it's more like, hey, can this be maybe like an interesting kit to pick up from AliExpress? Complete with SD card, so I also don't need to buy that one, I only need to install some stuff and that's it. But opening up, it's going to be super easy. You only need to remove the 6 Parkers at the bottom. So the internal parts are not like super special, but what I was really curious about is like what kind of fan they're using. Because if you didn't know, like the Pi 4 does have like the problem, it can get really hot. And they implemented a very nice fan. I think it's one of the best fans you can get. And I don't know if you're sure, but I think it also comes including the kit. The fan itself is not, let's say, noticeable. You can hear it's on, but it is not like annoying. You can see then we have like this tiny PCB at the front basically that connects to over here. And what you're seeing is the thing that I already shown you in the beginning of this video. So you do have the option, and I think this is so cool. You can basically like extend your storage with this SATA connection on the inside. So what you can do is like when you're putting an image on this, you can just basically like make it hop swappable. Don't know, I don't know for sure like if you can buy these cartridges, but if you can buy them, you can make like different kind of images for yourself and just swap them out. But Retro Flag in general, like with the Sega version I've reviewed back in the day, I was very satisfied with it. Like just the quality of the PCBs and everything, how it looks. So the way how you need to assemble it, take consideration, you can get the case, you can get them pie and just slap it in here if you want to. But you can really see like it's going to be not very, let's say, difficult to do. Everything you need to know to do any soldering. You can see everything has been attached with a cable that also goes to the front USB over here. So everything is just very nicely made. So from the start I didn't even use this controller because I think it's pretty damn pointless. They're giving you this. And why do I think it's pretty pointless? Because we do miss out a lot of buttons. So you cannot even play every single game, especially when you're looking into a PlayStation. So when I was making this video, I basically used my Xbox 360 controller all the time. Yup, my old friend. I have used this so many times on the Raspberry Pi or different systems. So yeah, if you can find one in the wild and good condition, I think these things are always worth picking up. Again, like, I'm not like this major Xbox fan, but I just love this controller and it works so well when you need to configure it on the Raspberry Pi 4. Conclusion is that the NES Pi 4 case is absolutely great. If you can buy this full kit, I think you have like a very cool mini emulation beast. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Raspberry Pi 4. Is it still worth picking up nowadays, or are you like a big fan of the Super Flakes? Well, thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.